I break down why Bitcoin is different from everything you've been taught about money. Unlike the dollar, Bitcoin is deflationary, which means it gets stronger over time. I explain how this affects your everyday life, from savings to shopping, and how Bitcoin could be the key to a future where you don't have to outrun inflation to survive. I do this with simple examples, clear logic, and no fluff. So I guess you guys are probably sitting there wondering what does deflationary mean? To put it in simple terms, it means your money buys you more over time, not less, right? So let's think about it like this. Imagine if over time, every year you go to the grocery store and you spend $100. Your $100 buys you more instead of less. That's deflationary. Whereas compared to today, if you spend $100, it buys you less instead of more. That's it. That's the complete that they are polar opposites. Or why is the dollar inflationary and why do we live in a broken system? Every year the government prints more dollars, and this makes every dollar that's printed or every dollar that was already in circulation worth less. A good example is just like I said earlier. And a couple years ago, you could spend $100 at the grocery store to buy groceries, or maybe you could spend $20 at the gas station to get you a gallon and a half of gas or a full tank of gas or whatever it was. Whereas today, that $20 only gets you half, or maybe only gets you a quarter of gas or whatever it is, right? Stocks go up not because companies are doing better, but because the dollar is getting weaker. Think of the dollar like a ruler. If the ruler keeps shrinking time after time, everything looks bigger in comparison to that, and so that's what's happening to stock prices. You're not necessarily getting richer. You're just using a ruler that's losing its value. And let's kind of put that into perspective and let's like kind of make that make sense, right? So let's say that today, a company, let's say Apple, is worth $100 today, and say that inflation time year after year grows and the dollar loses its value because that's what it's measured in. That stock is going to go up, not necessarily because the company didn't grow, but because it takes more dollars to buy the same thing, just like your groceries and gas, like I mentioned earlier, right? So it's not just it's not just stocks, it's not just groceries, it's everything. Everything that's measured in the dollar is costing more. The price of whatever it is going to continue to grow. So how does Bitcoin solve the current inflation problem with our economic system? Bitcoin is and has a fixed supply. There are and will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin to ever exist. Unlike dollars, nobody can print more Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has to be Bitcoin can only be created with proof of work, meaning that you have to mine Bitcoin, you have to do some sort of work to produce it. In order to mine Bitcoin, you're using computing power. And that's one of the reasons why people call Bitcoin digital gold, because in order to get gold, you have to mine gold physically, right? The thing with Bitcoin is that it's better than gold because it's programmable and it's easier to move. Bitcoin is scarce. Scarcity equals value. What does that mean? Scarcity equals value. Let's put it like this. If you guys were to go to the latest shoe release for a pair of J's that's dropping, and you're like, okay, me and my boys got to go to Foot Locker or whatever, 6 in the morning. We got to get here, get these tickets, or I got to get up here, get this raffle ticket so I can buy these shoes because it's a really rare drop, and we probably won't see any more drop for a long time. Granted, they can make more as many shoes as they like, but let's just say for this time frame that they're not producing any more shoes for like the next 100 years or something like that, right? So everybody that wants a pair of these shoes is going to line up at the doors, flooding the store to get it. That's what I mean when I say scarcity equals value. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, except for literally, there will never be another Bitcoin. There will never be more Bitcoins that are produced or mined ever. So, once you kind of catch on to that, you want to get your hands on as much Bitcoin as you can, whether you're buying whole coins or if you're buying Satoshis. So, what could a deflationary future look like? A lot of what it could look like is instead of like rushing to spend your money before your money loses value, it introduces saving again. So instead of like, oh, okay, well, I want to spend my money here, 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 and here because I mean, it's just burning a hole in my pocket, like with me just saving it in my pocket. Like I feel like if Bitcoin reintroduces saving just like in having self custody of your money to the individual, just like when we were on a gold standard. It eliminates the need for buying unnecessary things because you realize that your money is growing and that eventually the things that you can get, all you have to do is just save a couple bucks, wait a little bit, and you can get whatever it is that your heart desires as time goes on. Another thing that Bitcoin will introduce, or not Bitcoin, but a deflationary future could look like, would be products would get cheaper as technology improves. So TVs, phones, PlayStations, PC parts, um, homes, everything would get cheaper like as time goes on, and we've seen that currently with let's say we've seen this with computers. Computers are you can buy a laptop now for like $100. I mean, there probably was a time when a laptop cost you maybe $1,000, $800. So with the with Bitcoin alongside the advancement of technology, products will infinitively get cheaper. Imagine saving in Bitcoin today and buying a car for less sats and not more. Whereas today, if you choose to buy a car, you're spending $20,000 on your car. And say if you want to get another car in the next 5, 10 years, you're probably going to spend $40,000. So in a Bitcoin world, you'll probably spend 20,000 sats on a car, and then 4 more years, if you want to get another car, it might be less than that. You might buy a car for 10,000 sats. If you guys have ever read Jeff Booth's Price of Tomorrow, he mentions that technology makes things cheaper, but fiat money hides that. He also says that we live in an age where technology should be making life cheaper and easier, but inflation robs us of that benefit. Bitcoin exposes this lie. Bitcoin aligns with tech, it rewards the future, and it does not punish it. So, basically, it just goes back to what I'm saying about, you know, technology will always make life and products more cheaper with the advancement of technology, and also with Bitcoin being that it is the internet of money, it'll make things cheaper for us alongside that as well. So instead of the iPhone being $1,500, the iPhone 16 being $1,500 like it is today, there could be a future where the iPhone 21 is 200 sats. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this video, and thank you. Please subscribe, like, share my video. It really helps with the algorithm to get me more subscribers and for me to spread the message about Bitcoin.